Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showcasing my updated hidden Intel BIOS settings guide. And before I get into the video, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for the support on my recent videos. It really does mean a lot, and especially within the Lumen server, we've reached 3,000 members. So we will be doing a huge giveaway for hitting such a milestone. So back into the video, these settings I will be showcasing you guys will be all within the Google Doc, within the free files channel in our Discord server. It is 100% free and you will get all the downloads and full guide within there. So what are these settings going to do, and what are the benefits of using these BIOS settings? First of all, every unlocked BIOS that is out there has a hidden power savings we can't disable within the regular BIOS. So we have to use a tool called skewing to export all of our settings, and we can manually change any settings we wanted. And the main benefit for disabling these settings are to help lower system latency by making sure our CPU or RAM never go into a low power state at all. Disabling these will help reduce frame drops and lower system latency. But fair warning to everyone watching this video, I am not liable if you do change any other settings and mess up your BIOS and cannot boot. This guide is specifically for more experienced users who know what they are doing. I left a link inside the guide where you can search up your motherboard and find your CMOS reset. So if anything does go wrong, you can always CMOS reset and your BIOS will go back to stock settings. So now into the main video, I will have this folder in a WinRAR inside of the free files channel. So what we're going to do here, once we open it and extract it to our desktop, we're going to have a few files here. And the first thing that we really need to run to make this fully work is the skewinfix.reg. This will pop up. You'll just click yes, and then you will click OK on this, and then you will right click the skewin_64.exe, run it as administrator, and it'll bring up a CMD batch kind of like this. You just want to click all the way through it. You can use your space bar for this until it closes. And then now we have the export.bat. Right click this, run it as administrator. This will run, and this will extract all of our BIOS settings. So now that we have the BIOS settings.txt, this is going to be your full BIOS on here. So this will be everything hidden. If you don't have anything in here, that means your BIOS is most likely locked. You will not be able to follow me. Be noted that if I have a setting and you don't have them, you can just skip through this part of the video and you can go on to the next setting and see if you do have it. So what I'm going to do now is go into the Google Doc that I have all of our settings in, and you can scroll down a little bit through here, and then we're gonna have disable all below here, and it's gonna be in heavy power savings in bold. So what we're gonna disable first is ASPMs. So we will copy the ASPM in our Google Doc, come into here, then we can click Control F to bring up a kind of search bar, and we can paste ASPM in here, and then we're gonna have a wraparound in here. Then we can go find next. Then we have PCIe ASPM support disabled. We just want to make sure all of these are disabled. You will have a lot of these and you will have a lot of duplicates. You just want to make sure you have all of your ASPM supports, all of them disabled. So how to do this correctly, you would want to, if you wanted to say change a star from, I don't know, say you're on ASPM L0AL1, you want to take this off, you would delete this star, and then you would put the star right next to the disabled, and then you would Control S on it. So that means that it would save the BIOS settings itself, and then we can go on to the next one. So the next one we're going to be disabling are LTRs. So what LTRs do is latency tolerance reporting. This lets devices tell the CPU it can sleep longer. This is bad for responsiveness. So we can paste into the find, then we can go find next. And we just want to find, I'd probably match case this so you can find it easier. So we're going to have this here, LTR. You want to make sure this is on disabled for all of these. Then you would go find next, and then you just find all of, like, for instance here, PCH, PCIe, LTR. I would just take this, I would copy the star, delete it, and then put it right next to the equal sign where the disabled is, and then save it. Key notes to help you guys out, I would do maybe 2 or 3 main settings at a time. So like, for example, I would do ASPM, LTR, and then race to halt, like a C state, and then I would import these settings and then restart your PC. I'll show you guys how to do that in a second. But like I said, for all these LTRs, you just want to make sure that all of the main LTRs are on disabled. So like PCIe 1 LTR lock, I would put this on disabled. Same with the PCH PCIe 2 LTR. I would take this enabled. I would take the star, delete it and then put it onto the disabled side, and then I would control S to save the file. Next, what we're going to do is race to halt. What this does is it increases the power state switching and overhead, so this will help the CPU finish work fast, then it will idle. We don't want that, so we'll put in race to halt here. We want to make sure these are all disabled. You might have duplicates in here. I don't have any, so I'm good to go. And the next one we're going to want to disable is Intel C state. We'll take that from the dock, paste it into the notepad. I don't personally have it, so I'm going to move on to the next one. The next one I have is C1E support, so I'll take it, paste it in here. I don't have it. We'll move on to the next one. We have C state undemotion. We're going to paste this in here. I do have this one. Most people will have this on C1 and C3. If you do have it, just put it onto the disabled one and then go on to the next one. The next one is going to be right below it, C state undemotion. Make sure this one is also disabled. You will probably have duplicates in these, so the package C state demotion, you want to make sure these are disabled. Package C state undemotion, make sure these are disabled. Next one we're going to do is C state pre-wake. I have it in the dock, but it's right here on my screen. Make sure these are also all disabled. Next one is package C state limit. I think it's going to be C0. For some people it will be. I don't have it, so I'm going to move on to the next one. So the next one I'm going to have is package C state support. Paste in here. I don't have it. We can just move on to the next one. So the next one we have is PEG0. We want to make sure that all the PEG zeros are disabled. So for example, like the LTR will have the help string PEG0. Make sure these are all fine. I'll probably match case this to help it find easier. But so PEG0 hot plug, make sure that this is disabled. We're going to find next PEG0 max payload size. I just put this on auto. I don't do the payload sizes. And next is PEG1. We just need to make sure that this is also disabled. So it is on my end. So we can move on to the next one, which would be PEG2 ASPM. I don't have it. We can move on to the next one. Next one's going to be EPG DIMM IDD3N. I know that's a long one, but what this does, it is the low power memory idle states. This can stall memory timing refreshing. So we want to make sure that this value is set to 0. If this is set to any other, like let's say 1, or this is set to 20, I know it's not going to be. Let's just say, for example, it is. You would want to delete it, put it to 0. Then control S to save it, and then we're going to change the one right below it, the EPG DIMM IDD3P. If this value is anything other than 0, you want to change it to 0 itself. Control S, and then we're going to move on to the next one. Next one's going to be energy efficient P state. So this dynamically downclocks under light load. We do not want that. If this is on enabled, take the star and then put it to disabled, and then I would control S to save the file. Next one is energy performance gain. What this is the BIOS level eco boost. We don't want that, so we would take this from enabled and put it to disabled if you haven't already. The next one's going to be the C6 DRAM. This is the deep memory sleep mode. This delays memory wake. We do not want that, so I don't personally have it, but if you have it enabled, make sure it's set to disabled, then control S. And then next we're going to disable all of the power gating. I personally do not have it, so we're going to move on to the next one. Next one's going to be URRs. So we're just going to paste it from the dock into here. You want to probably match case this, and then you're going to want to take all these from enabled and put them on disabled. Make sure it's on all of them. You will have duplicates. You'll probably have a lot of duplicates, so just make sure you disable every single one of them. The next one is going to be FERs. By the way, what these do is these are the internal PCIe and fabric level power clock gating routines. These delay component wake times, and we don't want that. So we're going to disable all these power savings. So URRs and then FERs. Just make sure you find all the duplicates and disable them. The next one is going to be NFER. So basically the same thing as FER. I'm going to take it from the dock and then paste it in here. And then whatever NFERs you do have, if they are enabled, put them to disabled, so we can disable those power saving states as well. The next one is going to be CERs. Like I said, these are also the internal PCIe and fabric level power clock gating routines. We just want to make sure all of the CERs are also disabled. You will most likely have duplicates. Make sure every single one of these are disabled. Next, we can go on to the CTOs. Same thing as like I said before. If they are on enabled, put them to disabled, and you will have duplicates. Make sure that all the duplicates are put to disabled. Next thing we're going to be disabling is the platform energy policy. These are going to be called PEPs. What these do, it's the OS level frameworks that let Windows put devices to sleep. So this blocks low latency performance. We want to make sure we disable all the PEPs. So for PEP CPU, make sure this is disabled. PEP graphics, put them disabled. The ISP is disable. The SATA controller, disable. RAID 0 volume, disable. And then the SATA ports, all the PEPs, you want to make sure that these are disabled, and we can move on to the next setting. Next, what I'm going to be doing is boot performance mode. I set this to turbo itself. It will set the CPU mode right after post. So we use turbo for instant max clocks at boot. So you will probably have duplicates. Make sure you move the star from whatever is probably going to be on max non-turbo performance to turbo performance. So it'll probably look something like this. What you would do is you would take this star, Control C, copy it, delete the star, come down to the turbo performance and then paste it in there, and then Control S, and you should be good. Last thing we'll be changing is the interrupt redirection mode. We're going to be switching this to round robin. What this does is it will balance IRQs evenly throughout the system. So this will probably be on fixed priority. I'll kind of show you what that would look like on your end. It would probably look something like this. You would just delete the star and then put it to round robin, and then you would want to find all the duplicates if you do have any, and then you would Control S, and then that would be it. So what I did forget to put in the recording, this is a couple of days later, on how to import the settings. You would just come back out to the main customer SKU in folder. You would right click on the import and then run it as administrator. Then I would wait for the CMD to say it has imported successfully, and then you can restart your PC. Like I said, I would restart your PC maybe after 2 to 3 main settings so you don't get any of the black screen interruptions. Alright, so with all those power saving features turned off, your CPU and memory are now running at full performance 24/7, so there's not going to be any more random downclocking, sleep transition, or latency spikes. This is what separates a tuned system from a stock one. So from now on, you're going to be keeping everything awake, synced, and consistent, which means lower input delay, smoother frame times, and tighter overall responsiveness. Just remember, this isn't about power saving anymore. It's kind of about saving frames and saving performance. It's kind of nice that we do have a tuned system now. If you guys would like to unlock your system and BIOS settings even more, we have the brand new auto tweaker that we have just released. This will have much more BIOS settings than what I put into the guide from this video. These will tweak your BIOS settings to a whole completely different level and disable every single power saving option within your BIOS. So that will provide the lowest latency and the highest frames for your system. But anyways, like I said, if you guys found this helpful, please drop a like and subscribe, and then check out the full tweak pack in the description. And I will see you guys in the next one.